G'day class, I'm here to show you how we're going to cut out our acrylic design using Illustrator so that we can cut it out on the laser cutter. So first thing you want to do, you want to make sure you got Illustrator installed. If you haven't, you can go to the software center on your laptop and just go to Adobe Illustrator and install it that way. And once you've done that, you're going to start off by going File, New. Okay, just click any of these options up here and just make sure that you change this to millimeters. Make the width 700. Okay, and the height is 400. And make sure it's on RGB color. Click Create. So this is the width and height of the laser cutter. So we make it this size so that we know we're actually going to fit in the machine on the bed. Click Create. Okay, you get a screen like this. Down the bottom here is your zoom. Okay, so keep that in mind. First thing we want to do though, I'll just run through the toolbars. Okay, so you got two arrows here, alright, black arrow and a white arrow. Black arrow is for selecting like a big group of things, and whereas the white arrow, which is called Direct Selection Tool, will sort of select certain lines and points on a picture, whereas the black one will just select the whole thing for you. We'll go through the other tools in a second as we get to them, but first thing we might want to do here is the Shape tool. Okay, at the moment it's an ellipse. If it's your first time running Illustrator, it's probably a rectangle. If you click and hold, you get the rectangle tool here. Okay, and then very similar to, I guess, Photoshop and Paint and other programs, you can just click and drag and you get rectangles. Up the top here, okay, you've got this side is the fill. Alright, so if I want blue fill, then I select that color. Okay, on the other side here I have what we call the stroke, and that's going to change the color of my line, okay, of the outside border. If I change this to say 4, you'll see what I mean. So, okay, so that's going to control my color of the border, and this controls the fill, alright, the inside. Okay, so that's important to know. Especially when we're using the laser cutter, because pretty much when we're using the laser cutter, the stroke will need to be RGB red. Okay, it has to be RGB red. It can't be any other version of red. It must be RGB. Okay, so RGB red for the outline. Now, once you've sort of got some shapes, if you want, we'll just delete these for now. Alright. Get a rectangle. I'll just make this 1 point. So if you click and drag, you'll get your rectangle. If you come over here to transform, okay, you've got your X and Y coordinates. Alright, so that's going to position it on your page. Okay, and you can have that position sort of where you want the top left corner to be, or where you want the middle to be, etc. And then you got your width and height here. So you might decide that your base is going to be 200 wide, and the height maybe you liked 300 high. You press enter, and this is what you get. Now that's pretty boring if we were just going to cut that out. So what you can do, if you go to the Direct Selection Tool, okay, click on the box, and if you grab an anchor, you can start to move it around, basically to whatever sort of shape you would like. I'm just sort of making it up as I go. Of course, you want to keep this part, the bottom, flat, because that's going to go into our timber base. But let's say you wanted to get some curves, so you could say click on that anchor, and if you come up here, convert selected anchor points to smooth. Okay, now you start to get some nice curves, and you can grab that handle and change that. Basically, I mean, you could create whatever you like, even if you were going for, I don't know, I've just gone for like a wave almost there, so you know, whatever you like really. Okay, and the laser cutter will cut that out, no worries, and it'll be nice and smooth edges. You barely have to do any buffing to smooth it out. So that's one way to do the shapes. Another way, let's say we get the ellipse tool, which is basically circles. If you want, so you can click and drag and you get different ellipses. If you hold shift, alright, hold down shift, you get perfect circles. Okay, something you could do, you could just draw a bunch of circles like this for whatever reason. Just say it's part of your design. Doing up the top out there. Okay, and if you get the selection tool, select them all. Okay, come over here to the shape builder tool, and you just click and drag a line. Alright, so I'm just adding that shape, those shapes, to make one big outline shape. Okay, something like that. I mean, you might look at that and go, that looks a bit weird, and fair enough, but it shows you, I guess, just how intricate you could make your outline. And you know, if you were to try and cut this out on the bandsaw, for instance, you'd be there for a while and it wouldn't look as smooth as this. So just something to think about when you're designing. So basically, let's say that's our outline and we're pretty happy with that. Next thing you can do is you got the text tool. Okay, so if you sort of click and drag, you get this sort of you get all this writing here. You can change the font. You can change the font size, so you might go like 36 font, whatever you like really. You know, whatever sort of takes your fancy, I guess. Plenty of different types, and you might go Mr. Anson's lamp. Okay, you obviously have something a bit cooler than that, but I'm just going to put that up there. So at the moment, so I've got my text, so that'll get etched by the laser cutter, and this red line will be cut. Okay. Another thing you probably want to do is add a picture. So hopefully you've found your picture, you've saved it to your desktop or somewhere. You go File, Open. Alright. If I go to my desktop and I find my magpie's picture. Okay, there it is. Very good. If I press Ctrl X, which is cut, come over here, press Ctrl V. Okay, now I can move that to wherever I like. I can hold down Shift and scale it. I want to get a nice size. And there you go. Now that'll get etched as well. Okay, by the laser cutter. And that's pretty much all you really have to do. Now, to set it up for printing, we just need to make sure, okay, that this red line that we want to cut out, okay, we made sure it was RGB red. We've got to make sure that our stroke rate is 0.001. Okay, and just like that, we've got our outline. It's very thin because that's representing the width of the laser. Now if you're pretty much done like that. Just one thing to remember though is if you do have a picture, make sure this says unembedded, okay, because that means the image is embedded. So when you send it to me, I'll be able to see the picture. If I click unembed, well, it comes up with this option, but if that just said embedded, that means your picture isn't linked to this file properly. So when you send it to me, I can't actually see the picture. Okay, so make sure that says unembedded there. If you have a color image and you might want to sort of see what it looks like in black and white, you can always press image trace and you click on this image trace panel, okay, and you can sort of play with this threshold. So if I just wanted just magpies, I could find that right threshold where it's just the magpie and the sign, something like that, for instance. Or if you wanted to make it darker, you could, to the point where it just goes all black. Okay, so that's the image trace. You can put a color image in there and the laser cutter will still work, but obviously you have to remember that the laser cutter cannot cut in color. Okay, so it's going to go a sort of whitish grey on your acrylic, and that's, I guess, basically where the LEDs come into play and light up through the base, and they're going to light up your picture for you. So something to think about there. Other than that, I guess I'll just maybe quickly show you some of these other tools. So you've got the Polygon tool here. So if you click that, okay, this is set up for 3, so 3 sides we know is a triangle. Okay, so you can play around with triangles. You could change that to, you know, 7 sides. Okay, and then we start to get, yeah, all different shapes. 12. All right. Okay, something to think about there. Okay, so you can't really see those shapes because there's no outline, or there's no stroke, I should say. So click that, and there you go. Okay, so those shapes are still there, even though the stroke was set on nothing. Alright, so something to play around with. Again, you know, if I shifted that there, selected both of them, went to the shape builder tool, clicked across, okay, there's some random shape. Alright, so use your imagination a little bit there. What else we got? We've got the line tool, so for drawing lines. Okay, hold shift and it sort of goes 45s if you want to be precise like that. The other tool is the pen tool. So the pen tool, you can click, 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 and just sort of make lines. If you click and hold, you start to get curves. Okay. Alright, so some more options there for you to play around with. Okay, so yeah, I recommend you play around with the different tools. You've got paint brushes. There was something, yeah, you can sort of play around with different paintbrush styles. There's definitely another option. I can't remember where it is right now. It's over here. Yeah. Anyway, different options there. The eraser tool is very different to how it works in Photoshop. So be careful with the eraser tool. It's probably not going to work like you think it'll work. And then you've got, yeah, all these other tools aren't scale tool and stuff like that. Not really necessary for what we're doing. So that's okay. Okay, so yeah, just delete these lines, delete these shapes, and there you go. I've got my outline, got my text and my picture. The laser cutter can now cut around this, etch in this, and then it's all set. So obviously your clear piece of plastic will have the etching, alright, and then you'll need you know, it's the black piece background behind it to trap the light in. So when you do that one, you just delete what you don't need to be etched, and then that'll create a perfect copy for you, and that should all work well. So hopefully you got something out of this video, a little bit of a basic intro into Illustrator and laser cutting, and if you have any questions, come and see me. Thank you.